My guest this week grew up on a farm in Wexford and once planned a very different path before a single decision changed everything. James O'Connor went on to build a 30-year plus career with Microsoft and now leads its Irish operation, one of the most important globally. We talk about that journey, the evolution of technology from early computing to AI, and what it takes to lead at the forefront of global innovation. Tune in to hear about the moment that changed everything. Before that, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Before we get started, a quick word about our sponsors, Philip Lee, LLP. Great businesses aren't built on theory, they're built on experience, judgment, and the courage to lead through change. As a leading law firm, Philip Lee supports clients through complex, legal, and regulatory challenges, helping businesses move forward with clarity and confidence. With offices in Dublin, Cork, London, and New York, they support clients wherever business happens. Find out more at philiplee.ie.
Technology is moving faster than ever. AI, cloud, cybersecurity, it's reshaping how every business operates and how we live our lives. But behind all of that are people making decisions every day that shape the future. And one of the most important of those hubs globally is right here in Ireland. My guest today is James O'Connor, who leads Microsoft Ireland, what's been described as Microsoft's most strategic hub internationally outside the US. James, you're very welcome to Business Plus Talks, which we're delighted to be partnering on with Philip Lee. So you're right at the centre of one of the biggest technology shifts we've seen. Not a bad place to be. But before we get into that, I hear you're a Wexford man.
That's right.
From a farming family, is that
That's right.
So had you originally planned to go to an agricultural college?
Yes, I did.
What happened there? Because you're not in agriculture now.
No, definitely took a different turn along the way. I grew up in North Wexford, a village called Kilteely. It's right under the foothills of the Black Stairs Mountains.
Lovely.
Beautiful part of the world. I appreciate it a lot more now. Probably didn't appreciate it as much when I was a teenager growing up there. Like all teenagers wanted to explore the world. But like I grew up in a great family. I was youngest of five, farming background, farming family. And with that, you're out in the farm every day, and you're really immersed in the community, and you work hard, and you get that ethics of working hard as well. But I loved it, and I got to my Leaving Cert. I didn't even apply for university or CAO equivalent back then. The path was pretty much laid out for me about going to agricultural college. I think my dad already had me down in two agricultural colleges just to make sure. There was Rockwell in Tipperary, where my brother actually worked at that time, and then there's another agricultural college in Kilkenny. So that was pretty much the plan. And the summer came, and I got my Leaving Cert done. And we had family friends, very good friends of my parents, up from West Cork. And we're sitting I remember sitting at the kitchen table one day. It was a gorgeous day. It was in early August. And it was Mrs. Buttermer, and she said to me, James, is this what you want to do, farming? And I said, she asked me a very direct question. And I said, I actually love farming, but the concern I had was, number one, my older brother was on the farm. Number two, there's an awful lot of stuff outside of your control, right? You can't control the weather, you can't control prices, and farming is very difficult. And this is 80s, right? So 80s Ireland was a tough place to be. And so she said to me, what about computing? And because she had been talking about another friend back in Cork about their kid doing computing, and I hadn't even thought about it. And so with that, because I hadn't applied to any college or university, I looked up. My local college is Carlow RTC, Regional Technical College, which were brilliant. I rang them up, which you wouldn't do today. I asked for the computer science department and got through to this lady, telling her about my Leaving Cert. She was asking me how did I do. And she said, come on up for an interview. And I did an interview, and they gave me a place. Wow. So within about a 4-week period, so I started early September in Carlow. I went from going from agricultural college to computer science, having no idea whether I was even going to like it.
Didn't see that one coming.
Didn't see that one coming. No.
Enjoyable time at college?
I loved it. I really got into it really quickly. We had brilliant lectures, really good lectures, really inspiring. When I started getting into coding, the maths was just very different from what I felt was what you were doing in secondary school.
Oh, you've got that real mathsy brain, do you?
Yeah, but probably more so. I probably didn't realize maybe until I went to college.
Yeah.
That maybe I was had more altitude there than maybe I thought I had in school. Because in school I just got on with maths. It wasn't my favorite subject at all. But I just loved it. And I love coding. I love the fact that you could create something very impactful very quickly doing coding. So I did, basically did my certificate, did my diploma there. There was no degree, so I had to move from there then to figure out to get a real job. And that's where I started in SKC, or KPMG as it is now.
KPMG now, yeah. So I get the feeling that was the pivotal moment for you then, was it? So that was a very your defining moment.
That was definitely pivotal. Yeah, definitely a pivotal moment.
And you did what, a 2 or 3 years stint with KPMG?
Then it was almost 4 years. So that was a brilliant experience as well. And again, I applied for KPMG not even thinking I would even get an interview. I remember showing up for the interview in the reception area. I clearly was the worst. What's that?
How did you get the interview?
They were advertising for graduates, I think. I think I saw it on the paper, and I just sent in a CV and I sent in an application. And I remember showing up. The interview was in the evening time, and everyone in there was very well dressed. Clearly, I was the only one from outside of probably Dublin there. With a very basic suit and a pair of shoes, and so I probably stood out like a sore.
It's the man that makes a suit, though.
There you go. But I went through my interviews, and my first boss was brilliant in KPMG, super coach and super mentor. And I really like the thing about in KPMG in those days was SKC. It was the first time they had a consulting division. They only, was very much obviously a tax and audit firm. So the consulting division was growing very quickly. The team I worked with were really, really incredible talent, and learned a ton from them. And then you're thrown in the deep end. You're in straight out with clients. So getting in front of clients.
What a way to learn, though.
Super way of learning.
Yeah.
And you're thrown into different industries. I remember being down in Murphy's when Heineken bought them, working with Waterford Crystal, and the strike was happening there just around that time as well, working in the banks. Like, I was thrown into so many different scenarios.
I much prefer, James, the practical side of life in terms of learning on the job. It's the only way to do it. And, it's like that. If someone offers you a job, take it and learn as you go. Exactly. So that was really, really fantastic. And we're installing this ERP solution called PPX. And that's what we're doing in a lot of those businesses. And again, it was a tough time climate-wise. Like, this was into late 80s now, into the early 90s. But I learned so much in those 3.5, 4 years. Yeah, and James, you mentioned your first boss. How important is a good boss in your career, particularly from an early stage? Yeah,
pivotal. I think really pivotal throughout your career, even today. But I think certainly in those early stages, you need someone who believes in you. You need someone who's going to be able to give you direct feedback and not sugarcoat it, but also give you the support and just feel how he's got your back.
She's got your back.
I've been very lucky, honestly, throughout my career. Even in Microsoft, and I've had lots of bosses in Microsoft. A lot of them female. And my current bosses, who are just being incredible managers and mentors and sponsors, and really have your back, empower you. Like, I've seen the instances, obviously, of bad bosses and bad managers and the impact that has as well. But I've been actually quite blessed throughout my career to have really, really strong mentors and coaches.
Excellent. So let's jump on to Microsoft here.
Okay.
41 years in Ireland.
Yeah.
And you are 33 years.
I know. Yeah.
There. What a journey. Which?
I'm only warming up.
I was just going to say, how did the Microsoft job come about?
It was honestly a headhunter. I was really enjoying my time in KPMG, and I was getting more responsibility. As I said, I had a great team around me as well. I was getting a lot of client experience. And I got a phone call one day from a headhunter. They had referenced this company called Microsoft. And I've gotten a couple of phone calls before that, not saying all of my colleagues at that time, like, the market was starting to heat up a little bit in the early 90s. But what was interesting to me was they mentioned Microsoft, and I was curious about I've heard about Microsoft, didn't know a lot about it.
Time, was it?
It was 2 years before Windows 95. So this was, I joined on the 1st of March, 93. And this conversation probably started in, I'm trying to remember, it was definitely before Christmas, probably November 92. And so that weekend I went out because I knew I had seen a headline that Microsoft was being featured in the FT, and buying the FT in that time was a big investment. So I went out that weekend and bought the FT, and I read a whole profile about Microsoft, and particularly about this mission that they had of putting a PC in every desk. That sort of inspired me more. So I started the interview process. I think I did 7 or 8 interviews.
Even back then, that's a lot.
Back then, there was a lot of interviews. A lot of great interview questions, which I think was sort of in the company at that time, right? So I'll give you an example. One question is, why are manholes round versus square? Putting you under pressure.
Tell me. I'm not going to try and answer that.
It's even pressure all around versus if they're square, there's more opportunity for fragmentation, as an example. So there were sort of questions. There was a lot of about how...
Is it Matty style?
It was about Matty, but it was also about how do you think on the moment? Like I think there was another question around, you've been in Australia 5 years, you haven't been in much contact at home. Someone asks you one day in the pub down in Australia, how many new cars are registered in Ireland in the past year? How would you answer it? So there was those sort of questions to sort of really... How do you come up? That's not necessarily the right answer, but how do you come up with it?
I'm sure there's different answers to it.
Yeah. There's different. There's no right answer.
So they're just watching how your brain works.
How your brain works. How do you actually correlate that? So I obviously got through it somehow. So I started on the 1st of March, 93, and that was, it was an amazing time. The company, there was just massive energy. The first day I joined, I could feel this energy. And that time in Microsoft in Ireland, it was pretty much a manufacturing site. It was manufacturing box product. Using innovation, a lot of innovation at the time is round table technology for manufacturing, which was very advanced manufacturing at that time. It come from Lean and from the Toyota industry in Japan. So it was very innovative even for a manufacturing side, and it was growing, and we were getting ready for this huge launch of Windows 95. And the company was growing very quickly. It was a little bit of a Wild West because you were just sort of building things very quickly, moving at pace. And then suddenly we moved from manufacturing side to centralizing all of order to cash and operations across the European region into Dublin. And so Dublin became this operations center for the European region. It was called the EOC, the European Operations Center. And actually that model was replicated into the Americas and into Asia. But it was started here. So that was sort of the period that I joined. And it was just sort of frantic, but great energy. Incredible people, just that excitement.
Yeah, am I right then, James, saying Microsoft Ireland is a key component of Microsoft globally?
Absolutely, it's one of its most critical strategic hubs internationally. There's no question about that. Because what's unique about Microsoft in Ireland today is we have pretty much every facet that goes on in the company here. If you walk into most other Microsoft offices across Europe, Asia, it's either a sales office for that particular market, or it might have R&D, Pacific R&D and engineering. Whereas here we have the whole gamut. We have our international operations here, international finance here, all our international corporate functions are here. We have a large engineering construct here doing core engineering, particularly now in AI. We have a large team doing digital sales for all of our small, medium-sized customers across Europe, Middle East, Africa. We have our data center hubs here. Our first data center, which was a pivotal moment, was here in 2009. The teams that actually design, develop, and build and run our data centers across the EMEA region are all based here. And then we have LinkedIn, who has their international headquarters and sales team here. LinkedIn's part of the Microsoft family. Activision Blizzard King is here. So it's got the left to right view.
And you've had many a role within there, so you've probably touched an awful lot of those.
I did,
that you just mentioned there.
Yeah.
So all through your career, was it that you just saw a different area that you felt you could dive into and kind of work a little bit of your magic on? Or?
Yeah, because my background was computer science. Yeah. My first job at Microsoft was a systems analyst, so I went straight into the IT.
Oh, you're one of these, are you?
One of these. At that time, I was a techie. But then quickly I became a project manager, people manager, then had the privilege of running larger IT groups, initially here in Europe and then globally. But I suppose I did come to a big sort of career point. I think it was about 12 years in the company where I'd spent all my career in internal engineering. And
did you go to sales ops and revenue then?
Yeah, I was getting an opportunity then. Okay, what about moving on to the business side and moving either into operations or into some of our broader functions? And I took a while. I was probably a year and a half. Really, is this the right move for me? Because my whole background was at that point was computer science. And
yeah, but you need to shake things up though, don't you?
I did, and then I got out of my comfort zone, and then I looked back after 6 months later, going, "Why did I wait?" I just, at the end of the day.
Well, sometimes it's better the devil you know, isn't it? You just stick to the knitting. And
it's about leadership, and if you're a competent leader, you should be able to lead any type of function. And so
I'm going to try and do the maths here, James. So 12 years in, you're 33 years in the business. So 21 years later, you're leading Microsoft Ireland.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you ever see that coming?
Honestly, no, not at that time. I really was enjoying, and I really enjoy being a manager first and foremost. Like I think I took to that very quickly. I just, I get a lot from coaching, developing, growing people, taking bets on people, just basically having a team that you can inspire and that you can empower and you can grow. So that's something I felt was, and I do it sort of in a human way. I don't do it in a, always in a tops down way. So I
always think everyone's equal.
Yeah.
Regardless of the title.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
Yeah.
We're all people at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're all people at the end of the day. Yeah. And it is about bringing people with you on that journey.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, I definitely enjoyed that. And then I took opportunities when they came along. Like I think I go back to my KPMG days or SKC days, and I had a great mentor there, and he just said to me one stage, "James, when you get opportunities, usually they're going to come at the worst possible time personally." And that is exactly what's happened. Like any key opportunity came along for me in Microsoft, it was always when the kids were very young, or there was just lots of things going on personally. And then secondly, you feel, is this really going to pull you out of your comfort zone? Mm-hmm. So I often ask myself the question, am I in my comfort zone or not? Because if I don't feel like there's a little bit of an edge there, you're not growing, you're not developing.
Get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
So get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
that's been sort of my motto. Yeah.
So I'd imagine there was a ton of travel as well, James.
There was, yeah, and still is. I have an amazing wife, Louise. This is a joint.
Is she a school teacher?
School teacher, yeah. And she was teaching in Ballyfermot, primary school teacher. And luckily, we're in a privileged position where, when my career was growing and developing, like something had to give. So basically, she was able to spend time with the kids at home, and that was a great balance. But I could not do what I do without Louise's partnership and support. Like this has been a joint effort over those years. Travel is challenging. I think, COVID sort of gave us a reality check. Do we need to be doing all this travel? And like we certainly took a real hard look at it in terms of just really focusing on what's most critical travel, maximizing our technology, which we're using Teams and communication for everything. Yeah. So I think that rebalance has helped a lot, but you still have to get on the road, particularly when you're leading people globally, and get on the ground with them and spend time with them and spend time with your customers and with your partners and suppliers.
I do think you need to be in front of people to get to stare them in the eyeballs and the whites of the eyes and get proper stuff done or decisions made.
Yeah, and you get all the nuances of what's really going on and get to know them as well, because at the end of the day, it is human to human, as we said earlier.
Yeah. How many bodies does Microsoft employ? Is it 4,000 or 5,000, 6,000 plus?
We're 6,400 now across all of the entities here, including LinkedIn, Activision, Blizzard King. As you said, we celebrated 40 years in Ireland last year. We actually commissioned Indicon to do an impact assessment, which we published, and it's just incredible. And this is the Microsoft story, but I think this story goes much broader when you think about all the FDI investment here. But for Microsoft, over the last 10 years alone, that's been a total investment of 40 billion into the economy.
Wow.
And there's over 20,000 jobs, both direct and indirect, that's supported through the Microsoft ecosystem. So it's been a substantial economic impact for the country. And obviously, listen, it's a partnership, right, between Microsoft, the government here, our education providers, like this is, and the major partners and customers we work with every day here. Like it's one ecosystem.
Yeah. I always think when I think about Microsoft, I think I was saying to you off air, it's like Windows and Office, right? But in terms of the digital transformation space or the innovation hub that you've set up there, what is the key sort of focus there? It's probably, there's not one, but is there, like, we all know about the AI impact that it's having.
Yeah.
Where is Microsoft going with the innovation side of things, firstly?
Yeah, firstly, for my career and for Microsoft in Ireland, like, this is the fourth big technology transformation
within Microsoft,
and even for me personally in my career.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with PC when I started in Microsoft, then we went to internet and mobility, cloud, and now we're in this major AI wave. And this is by far the biggest transformation, the most disruptive. So then to answer your question, like maybe a couple of different things. Like Microsoft we have a huge array of products that we bring to market, and it's really about helping customers, particularly enterprises, manage their ecosystem left to right. So we help them with their workflow, with their communication, we help them with security, we help them obviously then basically supporting all of their offerings in our cloud, in our public cloud, as opposed to having the customer having to have their data centers in their cloud. And now what we're doing is infusing AI into that workflow. So sort of AI is becoming part of your workflow. So if you're used to using Outlook every day, Excel, PowerPoint, we've basically embedded Copilot, which is our core AI product.
I hear you're going around just chatting into it all the time, are you?
But
just like with the phone to your mouth, just talking away.
I am. I'm doing that all the time.
But it's brilliant though, isn't it? It takes the sting out of things.
Yeah, it is.
I would get it to do James a first draft email, but I'll write it then once it sets the foundations for me.
Yeah.
And then pepper in my own sort of talk. And what
exactly.
I get from it.
And it gets used to your style.
Yeah.
So that it'll actually tweak the email or the content you're developing, which I use a lot. I use Copilot and Outlook a lot. And even this morning, there was a couple of calls. Like, I don't do late calls anymore. I used to. And there was a couple of calls late my time, and I just had Copilot do a summary for me this morning. So I can see immediately what was the core outcome. I even asked the question, what was the tone of the meeting? And instead of giving me a sense of what the tone was like in the meeting, was it positive? Was there challenge or whatever? So, just small things like that. So it takes that remedial sort of workload away and frees up your capacity to really make more judgment, make more decisions, and focus on where you need to focus.
Yeah, so you have a lot going on, right? Yeah. What keeps you awake at night?
I actually sleep very, very well.
Yeah, okay. We'll move on, so.
Of course, there's always there's many things we're working through. I think right now it's really this transformation of AI and how do we bring really differentiated value to our customers? How do we help customers through that transformation? And then on a local level, because I have two jobs. My global job is I run operations globally within Microsoft, and then I have
one job wasn't
the privileged job here of being the leader here in Ireland. But I think the one thing that I am very passionate about also is that Ireland takes this opportunity in AI. And really, I think we have a lot of amazing assets here. We tend to focus negatively at times on what's not going well. And of course, there's things we can work on, but there's a lot of positives here. And so we've invested heavily in digital skilling.
Do you reckon we're at the forefront of it?
Yeah, we have an initiative called Skill Up Ireland, which we've been running for a number of years. We developed basically a mechanism, was initially a physical mechanism, was called Dreamspace, that we opened up at our new campus in Leopardstown.
That's one Microsoft place.
It's in one Microsoft place.
Did I hear just 500,000 students has gone through there?
Yeah, there's over 500,000 kids after going through that. And that's full immersion, when they come in.
There's an LED waterfall and digital lake and all the fancy stuff, yeah?
Yeah, and they do a tour of the building, etc. Yeah. But then what the team did through COVID is they've moved all of those offerings online. So we're able to reach every school in Ireland now digitally, and this also is in Northern Ireland. So we have a Dream Space in the Titanic Centre in Belfast, and we just opened our third Dream Space in Grange Castle. So we're continuing to build on that, but I think we have an opportunity to make sure everybody is skilled in AI, and particularly for those that are working, for those that maybe are retired. We got to make sure this is all the way through life cycle.
I was actually going to ask that point. Where are we, James? Early, middle, or just getting started?
We actually, it's interesting. Ireland All Up has really, I think, embraced AI. We did a study a couple of months back as an Infusion report, and we're fourth in the world. And that means like small businesses to large businesses that are using AI, over 91% are using AI. So, and then I think about students, etc. So AI is pretty infused. What we need to help people with is how to use it safely, how to take advantage of it, how to maximize it. So we have a lot more skilling work to do. And I don't believe that should be left with government or should be left with education providers. I think it's a three-way street, and that's something we're continuing to be very focused on through the Skill Up Ireland initiative.
Right. So you say you sleep well, you don't take any late
Most of the
calls. What's the typical day look like for you?
Typical day, I probably, I'm first thing in the morning, I am up, I do check emails, I do check key meetings from overnight. It's the usual breakfast stuff, and I catch up with Louise. I head into the office. I used to go in, always be in by about 8. Now I'm heading in around 9:30, because I work late. Because I have teams in Asia, so a couple of mornings a week I catch up with them.
Shift, yeah.
At that time shift. But then my evening is really where it gets busy, because headquarters Seattle. It's an 8-hour time difference. So basically 3 o'clock is 7 a.m. their time. That's when it gets pretty intense. So I rarely would leave the office before 7. I try to work from home on Fridays. So that's my typical day.
Actually, did you ever work in the States?
I did, yeah. I've done 2 stints over there, yeah. I did
Whereabouts?
Short in Seattle, both in Seattle, yeah. Firstly, I was working on a project, and then secondly, I was doing a leadership role over there. And that's great, incredible experience as well, to working in headquarters and getting that exposure.
So let's say for people listening in terms of, let's say, James, one thing that would surprise people about Microsoft as a place to work, or internally, or what happens. Is there anything that you would tell people about how you obviously said a really nice culture internally. There's a lot going on, I'm sure, in terms of, let's say, the perks of the job as well.
I think the biggest thing, honestly, is the culture of the company. That's evolved significantly over the years, but there is this, we call it growth mindset. There is this culture of really supporting each other. It's one thing my wife often tells me, I think it's a great litmus test. She always tells me, anyone I ever meet from Microsoft are just nice people. And I think it's a very simple saying. They're down to earth.
Testament to the
There's no BS. They work super hard. They're super smart, but they collaborate. And they're really, thinking outside the box all the time. So it's very much, when we talk about growth mindset, it's about, curiosity and learning and not being a know-it-all. And I think that's sort of, honestly, one of the key things that keeps me fired up every day and inspired every day.
Actually, I have a quote here. So in 2002, the company's mission became to enable people and businesses throughout the world to realize their full potential.
Yeah.
But your current CEO, Satya Nadella, said in 2015 that its mission had changed again to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Yeah. Pretty powerful stuff there.
Very, very powerful. Empower is the big word.
Very people focused, right?
Every individual and every organization. Yeah, it's very people focused. And the company is very focused on that mission. Even right now for AI as an example, how do we make sure AI gets diffused in every market around the world and we don't have this huge delay? Like what happened with electricity, for example, where, even adoption in markets like Africa or the global south is still happening. We want to make sure AI is diffused at the same rate around the world, as an example.
What, James, separates great leaders from good? The human element?
I think
empathetic approach.
I think there's a couple of things. I think first and foremost, just being people focused and orientated and zeroing in on, I think, what are you trying to achieve? What's that mission or vision you're trying to achieve? And conveying that in simple terms to the people you're leading, and do that in a very human-centric way.
Sounds good to me. And within that then, if you think about the teams that you have, how do you retain all that talent that you're talking about that will talk great about the company too? Because it's a very competitive market. It is.
Of course it is. And particularly now in this era with AI. Like for me, again, there's a human component of it. I want to make sure that anyone that works for me are they learning? Are they growing? Are they getting the right skilling? Are they getting opportunities to get out of their comfort zone, but in a way that they're really thriving? So we focus in a lot on how are people thriving and growing, and then giving them career pathways as well. And even right now with AI and the uncertainty of AI, trying to lay out, okay, what's your role going to look like in the next 2 years, right? And roles are going to evolve, they're going to change, but really trying to empower them to evolve their roles and change their roles, because no your roles, particularly if you're in technology, is going to stay exactly the same. And this is all the way through, like the 4 transformations I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It's probably at an accelerated pace now with AI.
Because I think AI is an enabler.
Totally enabler. And it's you're human. That's why we call our AI co-pilot. You're still the pilot.
Fair.
So you still are in charge. You have AI to help you. It's another tool. You embed it into your workflow. But at the end of the day, you're the one who still makes the decisions. You're still got the oversight. You're still the one who's going to bring more innovation and perspective. You're going to make the tough judgment calls. So it's just really, if anything, AI should be empowering you to even increase and broaden your impact.
What gets you out of bed in the morning?
What gets me out of bed in the morning? Honestly, I talked about what was the environment like when I joined Microsoft in '93. I really believe
must be some buzz in that office, is there?
The buzz right now is exactly what it was like in '93. It's just this energy. There's excitement. Yeah, there's, basically, there's always going to be days. There's going to be tougher days than others. But I always really get excited by the impact of the technology that we have and what it does. So it just some examples of what our customers are doing in Ireland, and I've been personally involved in a couple of charities as well and around cancer research.
Oh, very good.
But when you look at the impact of AI in cancer research, the impact, I see one of our customers in St. James's Hospital, and you see the speed of clinical tests. They're going from 8 days down to 2 days, and probably will go down even further. You see the impact on cancer research. You just see how AI is impacting people every single day. That's what, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That certainly inspires me, and then the people I work with inspire me.
And are you proud of anything in particular, either professionally or personally? What would be a standout for you?
I think it's those examples of how either Microsoft internally, and particularly we call them customer zero stories, and particularly then when I look at how customers are using AI. That's what really inspires me. Okay. When I see the different use cases of the impact it has, either on a business, on a small business, on an individual, that's really what inspires me.
Can you step away from the business when the clock is off? So when 7 o'clock kicks in?
I don't fully switch off. I'm going to admit that. I think I'm always, I certainly am. I think I've got a lot better in the last couple of years. And our kids are at a stage now as well.
3, yeah.
I have 3 kids. And our youngest just left home as well. He's in London doing a master's. So I think we're at a point where, for the last couple of years, my challenge is I don't have enough holidays. I'm trying to take on more holidays. Okay. So there's probably just more independence. So I'm very focused on making sure I'm getting that downtime as well, spending time with family. I have a daughter in Australia. We've down to her a couple of times over the last couple of years. So doing a lot more of that than what I did do, and trying to get that balance right. But I think because what I find right now is if I completely switch off for a week, switch off email, etc., I'm probably more stressed when I come back. It's easier to sort of stay connected with it.
Off it. And also with mobile and stuff on the go.
It's not easier. It's not stressful. It's not easier. And then you can keep things moving.
Sorry, James, if you're doing something you really like or have a passion for,
I don't find it. Yeah, exactly.
It's hassle-free.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would totally agree with you. If you can check in little bite-sized bits as opposed to having a tirade of stuff when you land back.
And you control that, and you determine what's the right time for you.
Okay, so before we wrap up, what's your switch off? And actually, more importantly, talk to me about this master's group, will you?
So I got involved through some friends in basically it's a gym group in Dublin, Chapter 2 Fitness. It's run by the Hayden brothers, Jamie, and so Jamie's dad, Connor.
They have a boxing academy there as well.
Boxing academy as well, yeah, and then Sean and Paddy are running that. So the whole family are involved in the business. But I got involved. I sort of knew Connor through other friends, and then I got sort of roped in at Christmas Eve party to get involved with another master's I was actually a member, and I went up and did a couple of sessions, and it was tough.
Yeah.
But I stuck with it.
Great feeling afterwards once you've done a work like that.
Love it. We do with the team. They get together 4 times a week. I try to make at least 3 of them. It's
Is it what, 45 minutes an hour type thing?
It's about 45 minutes or an hour, yeah, a little bit
Perfect.
more. Connor runs it very effectively, keeps us all on our toes, and it's a group. It's a super group, and everyone's from different backgrounds, and it's our shed. Like, it really is. Like, we get on very well together. We get together now once a year. We do a Shannon trip, so that's been a real switch off.
Go on the boat, you mean, Shannon?
Yeah.
I
We
used to do that when I was a kid. Love it.
Yeah.
Talking about water, swimming as well during COVID?
I did. I learned. So growing up in North Wexford underneath the Black Stars Mountains, there was no swimming pool anywhere near us. So I never learned how to swim. I never learned. I didn't learn how to swim. And so it was always sort of on my list to learn how to swim. And then COVID came, and my wife's into sea swimming. So I just said, okay, I'm going to try and learn how to swim. So I learned how to swim. And I got into sea swimming. I do it now. I'm not doing as much as I used to, but for me, it's a big deal.
The cold immersion is brilliant. What a kick to the system.
It certainly does, yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a big kick to the system. I think it started in February, so it was a very big kick to the system.
Have you heard that Freesbury thing?
Yeah.
Where they stay in, like, so if it's the 1st of Feb, it's 1 minute, then it goes up to the 20th of 20, and like...
March gets worse, I think.
In and around now, it's not a great time to start, but I'll be doing it for a bit.
But it's great.
It's just you don't think of anything else when you're in there.
No, you don't. No, absolutely.
That's the ultimate switch off.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so books or pods, anything you'd prefer or tune into in particular?
I've just started to read our CEO for LinkedIn, Ryan, is just and another one of his colleagues have just written a book about AI, basically work in AI. So I'm starting to read that right now, just in terms of the transformation of roles in AI and how to maximize AI. I probably not a big reader because I don't know. I think I've read so much every day in my day job, etc. So I find it difficult to sit down and actually read a book left to right. So
Same.
I'm more into podcasts. I read a huge amount of articles. I'm constantly in the FT and all sorts of other subscriptions that I have to stay up to date. But I'm always really interested, particularly in what business leaders, what they have done, what they've learned. So they're the sort of podcasts and sort of articles.
Learn from the best, yeah. Okay, so James, our last guest has left you a question. This one is from Marion Finnegan in Sherry Fitzgerald.
All right.
Goes like this. I think it's quite apt. What would you ideally like to be said about you the day you walk out the door?
That's a great question.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Really, really good question.
The legacy you leave behind.
I think it's, I also know cliche, but I think for me, it's about how did I make people feel? And I think I'm hoping people will say, James was a dedicated leader, and hopefully they've grown through at least my leadership.
Be the leader that you want to work for, right?
So sort of it's more the human element versus whatever the business impacts were. I think it's more about the human impact and how people have grown and developed maybe through the opportunity of working with me. And
for you, what's the question that you'd like to leave the next guest without knowing who it is? I could tell you, but maybe I won't. I'd probably love to hear how they're using AI personally. What's really working for them and what are they concerned about as a leader? Okay. That's a spicy one. And putting themselves at the center from a human perspective. Excellent. James, thanks a million for joining us. It's fascinating to hear not just about the scale of what's happening at Microsoft, but the thinking behind it. I think what really stands out to me, you've mentioned this time and time again, is, yes, the technology is moving at pace, but it still comes back to the people, the leadership and the decision making. Yeah. You're right at the centre of one of the most important shifts in modern business, and it's great to see that Ireland's actually playing such a pivotal role. Thanks again for joining us, and thanks to everyone for listening in. Thank you, Dave. A quick word about our sponsors, Philip Lee, LLP. Great businesses aren't built on theory, they're built on experience, judgment, and the courage to lead through change. As a leading law firm, Philip Lee supports clients through complex, legal, and regulatory challenges, helping businesses move forward with clarity and confidence. With offices in Dublin, Cork, London, and New York, they support clients wherever business happens. Find out more at philiplee.ie.